Hello everyone, watch this review here with a look at the Big Sister, Little Sister 2-pack from NECA's BioShock 2 line, which happens to be a Toys R Us exclusive. Now I should mention that the exclusive portion in this comes from the fact that it's just this configuration, the Little Sister being packaged with the Big Sister, which will set you back 20. The Big Sister is also available individually for 14 at Toys R Us, and is probably available at other places if the exclusivity part is to be believed. I haven't actually played BioShock 2, but I enjoyed the first one, figured that I'd buy the merch before it runs out, and let's face it, I mean, this wouldn't be the first time I bought stuff that I have no clue what the hell it's for. Happens more often than I'd like to admit. So yeah, there's a read-up here that I'm not going to read just because I don't want to spoil the details, you know. And then down here we have some other figures from the wave, the Bouncer Big Daddy, which I own and have already reviewed, the Subject Delta, which I was going to pick up but couldn't find one with a acceptable paint error. And then the Big Daddy Rosie, which I'm not as much a fan of, and a female splicer, and they honestly creep me out. Not pictured is the 2-pack, the Little Sisters, another Toys R Us exclusive, where you have this version, then like a purified version, or maybe it's supposed to represent a specific Little Sister. I don't really know. And I think they might have done a Splicer Little Sister 2-pack as well, but I can't remember. So yeah, let's get this open. While opening up the pack, there was a really strong odor that reminded me of chlorine, which, you know, is somewhat ironic given the subject matter, but let's start off with the $6 accessory, because Big Sister usually costs $14 by herself. Somehow this little figure jacks up the price to $20, so she comes with her little tool here. If you're not familiar with the Little Sisters, basically they patrol the underwater city of Rapture and use this thing which looks suspiciously like a fuel pump to inject into the deceased splicers to draw Adam from them. In what might be the most diabolical recycling plan since Soylent Green. Certainly creative, though. This figure, as simple as it looks, really is an essential character to the whole BioShock, mythos here. And, you know, it's kind of weird to just have the Big Daddy without a Little Sister present. Now, I'm not 100% sure why they don't just package these separately and sell them. I guess just because they're a smaller figure and they're trying to keep the cost sort of reasonable, so, you know. But as mentioned, you do have a Little Sister 2-pack, which I think went for either 14 or 20, I can't remember, in addition to the Little Sister, Big Sister pack, which I thought was the better deal just because you needed a Big Sister anyway, and the other pack wasn't available at that point. In terms of articulation, you know, we have a movable head. It's ball jointed. Really good range of motion, too. Not impeded by the ponytail. An ab/diaphragm joint. A waist that doesn't rotate, but looks like it might. The legs will move. We have a single joint here at the knee. The legs don't seem to be ball jointed. No, not ball jointed, they're just hinged. But we have a ball jointed shoulder, and actually I feel like such a pedophile for doing that. And then a single hinge joint here at the elbow. You'll notice that there is a pretty good amount of detail on this figure. The paint's really kooky, and, you know, they have a really otherworldly sort of zombie-ish look to her. I mean, it just looks really crazy unnatural, but, you know, I guess that after the process or whatever the hell it entails, that sort of stuff happens. I don't know. I mean, I do find the clothing to, like, really look acceptable in the fact that these characters are supposed to be grungy, but, I mean, the complexion's just kind of freaky. But, you know, as mentioned. Now, one of the problem points are the hair sometimes isn't entirely painted in or chipped. So if you're buying this, you have to look out for the hair in this one, and on the Big Sister, you know, you have to look out for the metal portions. At any rate, let's start off with this little attach on here. basically it's like the sort of, I don't know if that's an air tank or the thing that they crawl into on the Big Daddy. Because they sort of did crawl into like a device in the Big Daddy. I can't really say remember them doing that in the first game, so I'm not exactly sure what the Bowery is, unless this is just an air tank, and the other thing is where they actually stay, but yeah. So you can actually pose the figure with the other figure on it, so which is a cool touch. Now, this figure doesn't look like it has a tremendous amount of articulation, but I mean, it might surprise you. You'll notice that the metal portions are kind of glossy. I'm not entirely impressed with how they did the metal. It looks a lot nicer on the Bouncer Big Daddy. I really don't like this little glass thing here because it's just such an obvious red thing. It doesn't look like glass at all. A lot of the other stuff, though, has like textures that do look appropriate, like the metal portions here, these metal arm guards, which really do have a nice metallic touch to them. They're a soft rubber as to not impede the shoulders. Again, pretty cool. And then there's a decent amount of texturing on the leather straps or whatever. These kind of look like leg braces, so weird. But I guess it's probably to enhance mobility or something like that. So yeah, in terms of articulation, we have a rotating head. Kind of looks like one giant big eye, which is kind of cool. It could go a full 360 if you wanted to, I believe. A ball-jointed shoulder. I mean, it's not really so much impeded by the shoulder pads, it's just the fact that the joint is kind of stiff, and I mean, given the slimness of the arms themselves, I'm worried that it might bust, but right around here, kind of well concealed because it looks like it only twists, but it is a ball and socket. The only problem is, like, I'm not sure how it's actually done, but yeah, I guess you can't just, there's no bicep rotation, so you can't twirl that around, so, I mean, it's not a very practical joint, because you don't get that much of a range of motion. It's actually kind of the same deal here, where it'll just go up a little bit. I mean, I don't know how much this character moves in the game, but from the trailer it looked pretty agile, so whatever. Now there is no rotation here at the waist, but we have ball-jointed legs, well, kind of ball-jointed. Wait a second. Okay, I see what I was doing. It's actually just a cut here for a hinge joint, and then it's like it's a another movement here, sort of like it feels like it's on a ball, but I could be wrong. But it's a point of rotation here at the upper hip. It's like when I was messing around with it, I didn't notice that was popping up. Then down here at the knee, we have a pin joint. You notice that they work the pins into the thing itself, so they aren't that obvious. And down here at the ankle, oh crap, you really shouldn't rotate it like that. It can rotate because it's like on a ball, but given the metal straights here, they can snap if you put like any pressure on them, or it looks like they will, so I wouldn't really do that. Or maybe they're supposed to be broken apart. That joint at all, no matter how you move it, because it looks like something will break, but you know, kind of cool design, just not really great in the articulation department, but better than it looks. So I guess the real question comes down to, would I recommend this figure? Now, a lot of NECA's figures, although, I mean, they have cool detail and stuff, but, I mean, it seems like the actual design aesthetic or design of the figures themselves just really sort of a thing where if you know the character, you know, you'll think that a lot of these figures are pretty awesome, but if you aren't like really aware of who the character is and stuff, you might not be as impressed, if that makes any sense. In this case, I believe that once I actually play the game, I'll probably think this is a great figure, but until then, I think it's just a, you know, sort of average representation. You know, they did a lot of things really well, but on the whole, it's just not that impressive from just a completely objective standpoint. I never got one of the other tanks in on the Big Daddy, but I mean, I guess I'll probably have to force that. I don't want to display with that on anyway. They'll probably just have that attached part of the time. You'll notice they have these cute little fishies drawn on the side, I guess presumably by the little sister, although contextually that doesn't make a lot of sense because you'd have to get all the way over here, and when you're climbing around on somebody's back like that, I don't think that's possible. You'll notice that there are drawings over here where the big sisters with the two little sisters, really cute little scene. I mean, this is a detail that is absolutely awesome. I mean, I can't praise them enough for doing something like that, but otherwise, it seems like a sort of average figure. I mean, I probably will pick up some of the other ones from the NECA player lines, but on the whole, it's basically been like I'll see these things in stores when I'm not like really familiar with the game or haven't played it, and I'll be like, okay, these look kind of cool, but I'm just not excited. And then later on, I saw the Big Daddy, and after I'd already played BioShock, I was like, hell yeah, this is great looking, but of course that one kind of was stuck in a hunch or whatever, where the legs are sort of crouched, so that part I didn't like as much, but everything else I thought was really awesome, so yeah, I mean, for a fan, this is probably a cool figure. For a not fan, I don't know. But until next time, folks.